What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be reviewing and breaking down Superman and Lois Season 3, Episode 4. So the episode starts with a forest fire, and we get a little bit of a Superman Superboy team-up scene, which is pretty cool to see. They both put out the fire, and obviously in this episode, Lois is still going to be recovering from her chemotherapy. But then we go to John Henry, who comes up with the theory that Intergang and Bruno Mannheim were using his technology, or I guess the John Henry of this Earth's technology, as obviously the John Henry we know is from another Earth. And obviously Clark knew that already, so John Henry did not enjoy him keeping that secret from him. And yeah, obviously John Henry's doppelganger was also killed by Bruno Mannheim and Intergang. Now guys, in the last episode, Jordan and Jonathan had a little bit of an adventure with Jonathan's truck getting stolen, which Lois and Clark are just now figuring out about in this episode. We also find out from Sam Lane how Bruno Mannheim exactly got his hands on Superman's blood. We find out it was stolen from the DoD after Superman was hurt by Ali Alston and kept in the DoD back in Season 2. Then we get some more backstory on who John Henry was on this Earth, as obviously the John Henry we know is from another Earth. And we, just figure out some more stuff on why he was murdered, all that, as our John Henry questions his sister from this Earth about all of that, which was a pretty emotional scene, as obviously John Henry lost his sister on his Earth, and his sister here lost John Henry on this Earth. But after all that happens, John Henry is captured by Intergang to be questioned by Bruno Mannheim. But anyways, back to the Lois and Clark stuff. Lois finds out that Jonathan was punched in the face by his girlfriend's dad, and she goes up to his house and tells him to tells him to his face, rather, to stay away from them, which is pretty interesting, pretty bold, considering she has cancer. So Superman also ends up destroying the remains of his blood that the DoD had, as Bruno Mannheim and Intergang were able to just synthesize lots of his blood from just one singular drop. That's how Bruno Mannheim and Intergang were creating all those different Kryptonian, or I guess Superman replicas, like Henry Miller from earlier in the season. And next we see John Henry talk to Bruno Mannheim, as obviously he was just kidnapped, or not kidnapped, but captured, and brought to Bruno Mannheim, and we find out that he knows John Henry is Steel and works with Superman, which is pretty interesting. We also find out that Bruno has kidnapped John Henry's sister, and he tells John Henry to stop digging into Bruno, or stop digging into him, and his involvement with Intergang and all that stuff. But John Henry declines and escapes using his steel suit to try and find his sister before she dies, and he succeeds. But that was a super intense scene, and honestly, I have to say, John Henry might be my favorite character on the show. I've been loving his storylines in Season 3. It's absolutely amazing. And then we see, Clark confront Jonathan's girlfriend's dad in a coffee shop, and this is one of the most satisfying scenes of the episode. Obviously, Jonathan's girlfriend's dad literally punched Jonathan in the face and then tries to punch Clark in the face. Obviously, that doesn't work at all, and it was really satisfying to see Clark whoop his butt. But back to Bruno Mannheim, we see John Henry just charge into his penthouse and grab him by the throat and threaten him, which reminded me of when John Henry was a villain. And even though he's a hero now, John Henry is still my favorite villain the show has ever had. John Henry is definitely my favorite character on the show, I have to say. So this scene was just absolutely amazing. I love what they did with John Henry in this episode especially. Then we see Lois deciding to continue her treatments at Bruno Mannheim's hospital to, just get more information about what's going on with Bruno and Intergang, which it should be pretty interesting going forward. I guess that's why they had the Lois, the Lois cancer storyline going on, to just connect that to Bruno Mannheim, which does make sense. And then toward the end, Jordan was going to get a haircut earlier in the episode, but he ends up not getting a haircut, and instead he gets himself a little suit to wear, which is going to be pretty interesting. Obviously, going forward with the Superboy stuff is going to be really, really cool to see. But wow, what an episode, I have to say. John Henry's story, this episode has my mind blown. Bruno Mannheim is a fantastic villain so far this season. Superman is great as always, and things are just so intense in the Kent household. This show is absolutely amazing. It's so much better than The Flash. I don't know how these two shows are on the same network, because Superman and Lois is amazing. I don't know what else to say about that. But anyways, I'd say that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment your thoughts on this video down below, as well as your thoughts on the episode. What did you guys think of it? I thought it was amazing. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.